So this is a video on how to integrate free flow combat system in GASP, which is Epic's game animation sample project. So let's get started. Here I have already downloaded the game animation sample project from Epic Games Launcher. And after that, just go to your Epic Games Launcher, search for free flow, and just hit add to project and select your game animation sample and hit add to project again. Wait while it installs. If it asks you whether you want to replace the files or not, just say yes. It shouldn't ask you that if you do it for the first time, but it did for me. I don't know why, but just hit yes. And now it's done. So if you go back now to your GASP project, you will see here it's created a folder called Free Flow Combat System. And now if you go to World Settings here, in the default level, here in the default pawn class, this is the character blueprint. That's the GASP character. So this is where we want to add the free flow functionality. So just hit this browse to asset button and it'll take you to it. Double click, open. So this is our GASP character right here. So what you want to do is, first of all, you need to start adding the free flow combat components to it. So up here in the top left, the components window, hit add and search for BPC underscore. So all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these components are what Free Flow Combat System comes with. So you need to add all of these. So start with BPC Free Flow Combat, BPC detection, we need targeting system, we need damage system, we need combo counter file, save. And then if you go to your Free Flow Combat folder, blueprints, example character, open this one. This is the Free Flow Combat character. So as you can see, it has all those components as well. So what you want to do from here, take a look at the class settings tab up here, and then look at the on the right in the details panel, look at the implemented interfaces. These are the blueprint interfaces that you need to add. So for example, BI weapons is used to interact with weapons. BI damageable is used to deal with damage related steps. So if some enemy hits you, you want this interface implemented in your player character so that the player character can actually receive damage. So you go back to your GASP character, go to class settings, implemented interfaces, and just hit this drop down that says add, and then search for damageable, search for weapons. That's done. Compile and save. After that, you wanna just copy all these nodes from the Free Flow Combat character over to your GASP character. Control C there, Control V here, moving them around. Compile and save, and you shouldn't get any errors. And then what you need to do is go to your begin play. Search for begin play. It's not implemented here, so you can implement it. Right click anywhere on an empty space in the event graph and search for begin play. Here you have it. So for those of you who don't know how the enhanced input system works in Unreal, it basically, so when you start the game, or ideally this is done at begin play, but you need to call the add mapping context function, and you need to give it an IMC file. So if I browse to it, this is the IMC, which is input mapping context file, and it contains all the different actions that you can perform in your game, and the actions themselves are assets as well. So these are all the input action assets. So you can aim, crouch, interact, jump, all these different actions. These are all the actions the GASP comes with. And then once you have defined these actions, then you put those in the IMC file. So look, like walk, sprint, jump, all of these actions, you then assign those here in this file. You assign keys to them. So for example, the sprint key is bound to left shift, or if you're using gamepad, left shoulder. Similarly, jump is bound to spacebar and keyboard, gamepad face button on your controller. So, and then once you have this IMC file, you call this add mapping context node and then give it that IMC file here. And then that's what enables your inputs in your game for this character. But the thing is, Free Flow Combat System also comes with its own IMC. If you go to Free Flow Combat System Input, IMC, if you go to, the Actions folder, so these are all the actions that Free Flow Combat System comes with, and that's the IMC file. So expand this, you can see attack, counter, sprint, stun, finisher, weapon pickup, ground takedown. So you have two of these, so you want to use one IMC file, and then you want to have the functionality for both the standard GASP stuff, plus you also want to have the Free Flow Combat functionality. So what you can do here is you can just open the GDC motion matching. This IMC underscore GDC motion matching is what comes with GASP, and you can just add another mapping here. Search for attack, IA underscore attack, and you can assign it left, and try to make sure that you don't have the same button assigned to two different actions, because that might cause some issues down the line. But for now, we'll just put the attack left mouse button as the input for attack function or action. So add another one for weapon pickup, and you can make it left click as well. I think this is, you can just copy stuff from over here from IMC default, which is located in the Free Flow Combat System. So here I have left mouse button assigned to the weapon pickup, but I also have left mouse button assigned to just the regular attack. And the difference between these is if you come here in the weapon pickup, it has a trigger, which is a coded action, and it's tied to the sprint action. So coded actions are when you need to press two buttons together to do an action. That's called a coded action. So in case of Free Flow Combat System, the weapon pickup action is coded action. So you need to press the button for the IA sprint, and you need to press this left mouse button to do the weapon pickup. And IA sprint you have here. So IA sprint is assigned to left shift. So that means you need to press left shift and left mouse button to do the weapon pickup. But if you just press the left mouse button alone, because this one doesn't have any triggers, you see here, 0. So if you just press the left mouse button, that means you'll do a regular attack. And if you press the left mouse button along with the IA sprint, which is left shift, then you'll do the weapon pickup move. So similarly for ground takedown, you have right mouse button, but you have these triggers, coded action, IA crouch. So that means you need to press the crouch button, which is C, and you need to press this right mouse button to do the ground takedown, and so on and so forth. Alright, so because weapon pickup is a coded action, it's been configured in its own action file. So weapon pickup, right? If I go browse to it, here's where all the actions are located. So content, Free Flow Combat System, input and actions. And if you open the weapon pickup action file, you can see here in the triggers drop down, I have set it up to be a coded action, and then which action do we need to press along with whatever key is assigned to it is IA sprint. So this setup is the same what you see here, but here it's grayed out because it's set up in its own action file. Now the problem here is that, and it confuses a lot of beginners, that IA underscore sprint, there are two of them. So if you go here in the IMC that comes with GASP, it has its own IA underscore sprint, but if you hover over it, you'll see where it's located in game/input/IA sprint, right? If I browse to it, look at the location. It's in content, input, IA sprint. And this is a different file than if I go to my weapon pickup, and if I hover over this is located in game/Free Flow Combat System /input/actions/IA underscore sprint. If I browse to this one, it's located here. You see, take a note of the location, and this is the one that comes with Free Flow Combat System. That one, it comes with GASP. So these are two completely different files, but they're named the same, which is a problem. It confuses a lot of people. So you need, one way you can do this is if you want to add the Free Flow Combat action mappings to your GASP IMC, then maybe go here in the weapon pickup action, which is like, again, it's located here, free flow combat system input actions, and then you pick this one and just replace the IE underscore sprint from the free flow combat version to, you see here's two of them, so just replace it with the GASP version and then just save it. And then because this one is the GASP version, so this one here should also be the GASP version, which is set up here, if that makes sense. And then this is a coded action, but there's another coded action which is the ground takedown, so add that, ground takedown, and then the key for that could be right click, but that's also a coded action, so it's coded with IA underscore crouch. And I think crouch is also, there are two crouches, I think. So free flow combat system has its own crouch, but then GASP has its own crouch. So what you need to do now, same as before, you go where the ground takedown is located, the action, open it, and the triggers, coded action, IA crouch. So this crouch again is there are two crouches, right? This one is the GASP one, this one is the free flow combat one. So because you're adding free flow actions to the GASP IMC, I guess you just change this to the GASP crouch, so like this. Save it, and you're good. Attack, open pickup, ground takedown. Then you can add another mapping for counter, right? Make it right click as well. But this one is not coded, so it's just right click. And then the aim is also set up to have right click as its input, and then the counter will also be right click, so I don't know, we'll see what happens, I guess. And then you got the attack, you got counter, you got weapon pickup, ground takedown, you need the finisher as well, probably, so add the finisher, and that is set up. I just set it up to be triggered within E. Again, just make sure that you don't repeat the same key for more than one action, unless one action is a coded action and the other is not. In that case, it's fine, but if both are not coded, then try not to repeat keys between actions. So E is not assigned to anything else. Let's just save that. Alright, this is fine. And you have, I don't think we need the begin play anymore, so like that. And after that, one more thing you can do is just go to your mesh here. This is, by the way, the GASP character, mesh, details panel, anim class, just browse to it. This is your animation blueprint, minimize, open that, and so I'll show you, you might want to disable this leg IK because it might interfere with your attack animations. I'll show you what I mean by that. So right now, if I just go to free flow combat system, oh, before that, one more thing here. So if you go to your world settings here, and if you don't see it, you can go to window, world settings here, and that will open it up. Expand this game mode, and in the game state class, change it to free flow combat game state. And save. Right, now you need a nav mesh so that your enemies know where they're allowed to walk around. So in the place actors window here, if you don't see this, again, you go to Windows at top and place actors, and then this will open up this window here. So here in the search bar, search for nav mesh bounce volume, put one in here in your level, drag and drop, make it a little big. So details panel, go to scale, make it like 50. And then if you select the viewport like this and hit the P key on your keyboard, then you should be able to visualize this area. The ground will turn green like this. So this is the area covered by the nav mesh where AI can walk around and do pathfinding. Right. And the final thing we should need is go to free flow combat system blueprints AI. Put one BP melee combat manager in the scene. Only one, not more than one. And then put a bunch of enemies here. This. And let's see what happens. I hit play. So you see how his legs are sometimes acting a bit weird, as if they're trying to stay on the ground. That is because of the leg IK, which is constantly trying to plant his feet on the ground. So for now, you can just remove it, just skip it like this, and just take it out of the circulation, and then compile and save. And now if you play, so the legs will stop acting weird, and you have the GASP movement. And for some reason the finisher is not working, so let's see why. I have it set to E, but maybe something else is also using the same key. Sorry. So you see here, I was trying to do a finisher. I was pressing the E button, which I set to the finisher action, but then interaction is also set to E by default in GASP, and none of them are coded inputs, so that's why it wasn't working, because you can't repeat the same key for two actions. So for now I can set it to, I don't know, H. Let's see. No. So the finishers were not working earlier because if you go to your GASP character here in this is the input for finisher. So right now I'm performing a check to see if the combo counter is more than 5, and only then, if it's more than 5, only then you can perform. Sure, I can just temporarily, just to test, I can reset it to 0, compile and save, and now the finisher is working, but the camera is going off screen, and that is because the finisher camera animation was animated at a distance of 700 units away from the character. In GASP, the camera is very close here, so that's why it goes, because it's already so close to the character, and the animation assumes that it's at 700 units away, but it's not 700 units away, it's like 300 units or something away, so it just goes off screen. To fix that, we just need to move the camera away. So search for, or maybe update camera. Yeah, I think this is the, in 5.4 version of GASP, this is the function that handles the camera distance. So if you double click it, update camera. And they have 3 styles, close, far, and aiming. So I think we are using cam style close by default. And it's by default is set to 225, which is the spring arm length, the distance of the camera from the character. So you can just increase to 700 as you play. So that's the finisher. And then there's also, if you go to interactable actors, weapons, heavy objects, you can place these VP underscore heavy object blueprints in the scene. You can just duplicate it. So right now for the weapon pickup, you'll see I have 2 weapons here, the boxes, but when I give the input, it doesn't work most of the time. And that is because if you go to your IMC and if you look at the weapon pickup input, it's left mouse button, but it is coded with IASprint action. So if you go to IASprint here, if you just browse to it and then open it, so this is the GASP version of the sprint action, and it's set up to, it has these 2 triggers, the pressed and released. So what I have found, sprinting is not, so if you're using the 5.4 version like I am, if you look here, sprinting doesn't really do anything in 5.4 anyway. So this is a feature coming in 5.5, so what you can do is, for some reason, these 2 triggers that the sprint action has, the pressed and released, they cause the weapon pickup coded action to not work correctly. So if you just delete these and save it, now you try to do it. Now he's throwing the boxes, but the boxes are not being correctly attached to his hand socket, and that is because there is no hand socket yet. So we need to add one. So if you go to the Free Flow Combat character, which is here in the Free Flow Combat system folder, blueprints example character, open it, and then go to the components window and select the mesh, and then open the mesh from here in the details panel, skeletal mesh asset, double click, open it, and in the skeleton tree right here you will see that there's, actually not this one, if you scroll down in the attached to the hand, right hand bone, you'll see this heavy object attached socket. So just copy this, copy selected sockets, and go to your GASP character, select the mesh, open the mesh, and then go to his right hand socket, and then right click on this, and then hit paste sockets. Save it, And now you should be able to use the weapon throw functionality properly. Oh, oops. And for the same goes for the ground takedowns. So right now I'm giving the input for ground takedown, but it's not working. And that's also because of the coded input clashing with the other triggers. So if I go back to my IMC, if I go to ground takedown, and it also has a coded action which is tied with the IEA crouch, and if I look at the IEA crouch, it has this pressed modifier here. I can browse to its action file and then expand the triggers drop down. So this, and in 5.4 the crouch input is also, it doesn't do anything, so what you can do for now is just delete this from here, save it. That should be all for the integration into GASP. You might have noticed that whenever you play any animation, its limbs sort of get detached from each other. That is just because the animations are not retargeted to the GASP character model. The animations are not retargeted to the GASP character model. And the GASP character model is actually smaller in size compared to the default Unreal Engine 4 mannequin that the free flow combat system comes with. So all you have to do to fix it really is just retarget the animations, the free flow combat animations, which are located here. So for example, these striking animations are located here. So these are animated on the UE4 default mannequin rig, but you can just retarget them to the GASP character rig, and then you just fix that issue. That's all for integrating free flow combat system into GASP. Thank you.